All right, so I'm supposed to I'm supposed to I don't know what to do. Why are some of the numbers big and some small? Like what am I supposed to do with this? As you can see today, we are going over exponent rules. All those numbers, big and small, fraction or not, negative or positive, we're taking over. We're going over it today. We are taking it down so that you could pass your tests. Let's get started. All right, so before we get into the exponent rules, we have to know what an exponent is. Basically, an exponent is the number of times a base is multiplied by itself. But first, what's a base? A base is basically just the number, the bigger number in the equation or expression. So 6 in this case would be the base because it is the number that is being multiplied by itself. Now, an exponent, on the other hand, is this 3. An exponent is always going to be to the top and right. So it's going to be to the top right of your base. So 3 in this case is our exponent. So here we have 7 squared. So the squared is going to be 2. So here we have 2. So 2 is our exponent. So 7 squared is 49. But how did I get that? Basically, 7 squared is the same as 7 times 7. And that will give us 49. So that's basically what an exponent is. All right, and before we move on, just a side note, basically squared means raising that number or variable to the second power, while cubed means raising the number or variable to the third power. Everything else, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, they have their names, but we typically just say raised to the 4th or raised to the 5th or raised to the 10th power and so on. Alright guys, so here we have our first exponent property. So here we have the zero property. Now guessing by the board, you might already have guessed what it means, but if you don't know, the zero property means that basically any number, any integer raised to the 0 power is gonna equal 1. So it doesn't matter if it's in decimal form, if it's 7,000, if it's 68, if it's 1,000,000, if it's raised to the 0 power, basically it equals 1. Alright guys, second on our list of exponent rules, here we have the negative property. The negative exponent property basically means that we'll be taking our base from a whole number to a denominator or from a denominator to a whole number. And I'll explain in greater detail. So here we have 9 raised to the negative 8th power. So what we're going to do is transfer it to the denominator of a fraction in which the numerator is 1. So here our answer, and now remember, vital step, we're taking off this negative, so now the negative is no longer there. Remember, anytime you're solving a problem, you're trying to make it as simple as possible. So now we go from 9 raised to the negative 8th power to 1 over 9 raised to the 8th. Now notice there's no negative sign here. So then we now simplify whatever 9 raised to the 8th is, and you'll have that answer. So it'll be 1 over whatever 9 raised to the 8th is. Now here we have our second example, the second version of this negative property. So what if our denominator, or what if our negative property started off with our denominator being 9 raised to the negative 8? So what do we do then? So basically we just do the complete opposite of what we did here. So we have, where 1 is our numerator, we have 9 raised to the negative 8th power. And what we'll do is we'll take away this negative and bring everything else back to its original form. So then we will go from 9 raised to the negative 8, which is the denominator of this fraction. We'll take it to 9 raised to the 8. So as you can see here, the negative sign is here, but not in our whole number. So in every of the solutions of our exponent problems, we see that the negative sign does not follow us into our solution. So always remember that when solving negative exponents. Alright guys, so the third exponent rule on our list here is the product property. Now what does it do? I'll explain. So basically we have the same number being raised to two different exponents. So in this case, our same number is 5. So what we're going to do, we're going to put 5 to the side, and basically we're going to have our exponents. We're going to add our exponents together. And so instead of doing 5 squared and then doing 5 to raise to the 4th power separately, we're going to go ahead and combine the process. So 2 plus 4, which is what we're doing here. So 5 raised to the 2 plus 4 power. So we're going to add 2 and 4, and that'll give us 6. So now the only thing you have to worry about is just doing 5 raised to the 6th power. This is considered the product property. Next on our list of rules of exponents, we have the quotient property. Now it's pretty similar with the product property, only difference is now we're subtracting. Since this is dealing with division, we're going to go ahead and subtract as we see here. So let's start from the beginning. We have 7 raised to the 10th power divided by 7 raised to the 8th power. Now as you see here, we're going to go ahead and subtract 8 from 10. So we have our 10 and we have our 8. Now always remember, the numerator comes first. So we're going to have 10 minus 8, not 8 minus 10. It's going to be 10 minus 8, and that's going to give us 2. So basically 7 raised to the 10th power divided by 7 raised to the 8th power is going to be 7 raised to the 2nd power. Alright guys, fifth on our list of exponent rules here we have today is the power of a power property. Now in this case, it's kind of similar to the product and quotient property, and with one exception. So we're not adding or subtracting, but in this case, we are multiplying. So here we have 2 raised to the 3rd power, parentheses, and then all of this in parentheses raised again to the 4th power. So you see it's kind of layering. So here we have 2 raised to the 3rd and then times 4. So basically what we're doing is multiplying the 3 and the 4. So in this case, it doesn't really matter the order that you put it in, like the quotient property, but all that needs to be done is just to multiply the 2 exponents that we have here. So 2 raised to the 3rd and then raised to the 4 is going to be 2 raised to the 3rd times 4, which will equal 12. So totally altogether, 2 raised to the 3rd and then to the 4th is the same thing as 2 raised to the 12th power. Next on our list of rules of exponents, here we have the power of a product property. So the last one was power of a power. This is power of a product. Not that you need to memorize the names, but just to know the difference. So here we have 3 times 6 in parentheses raised to the 2nd. So some people might prefer to multiply 3 times 6. You know, you get 18 and then multiply 18 by 18, you know, since it's squared. But other people might not like that method. So here we have the power of a product method. So here what we could do is also take the 3 and the 6 and separate them and square them separately. So here we could have 3 raised to the 2, so that'll give us 9, and 6 raised to the 2, that'll give us 36. And then from there, they could multiply 9 by 36. Anyway, whatever floats your boat is what will work. But in this case, since we're dealing with exponents, you want to be able to familiarize yourself with a different method or a different way of solving this problem. Y'all, last property of the video. Let's finish strong. So here we have power of a quotient property. It's kind of similar to the power of a product property in the sense that we are distributing our exponent to both terms or to both numbers. So in this case, we have 7 divided by 3 raised to the 3rd power. Now, instead of dividing 7 and 3 and, you know, raising it to the 3rd power, we have an easier route to simplify this and make it look easier. So we're gonna distribute our
You know what? I'm about to say it.
Say it.
Our exponent, our exponent, we're gonna distribute it to the 7 and the 3. So we end up getting 7 raised to the 3rd power over 3 raised to the 3rd power. And then you go from there. Whatever the question may be asking, I know you got this. Alright, y'all, that's it for today's video. I really appreciate it if you stayed this long. And yeah, that's it. We talked about exponent rules. And with these 7 exponent rules, I guarantee you, anytime you see exponents, you'll be set. You'll be able to solve that problem. Guaranteed. Or your money back. Wait, you didn't give me money, but it's alright. I just want to say your money back. And by the way, have you subscribed? Have you liked this video? Have you turned on the bell? Your notifications? You know what? I'm gonna give you 5 seconds right now to hit that subscribe button and to turn on the bell.
5, 4, 3, 2.
But that's it for today's video. Stay safe and God bless.